Our Sunday 11 o'clock, me and Dr. V live stream starring Dr.
The
V.
doctor.
Let me tell you something. I've been watching this video about addiction and stuff. Forget that stuff. You got addiction issues. You got questions.
That's
There
it
we
right
go.
here. Right
Talk
here.
to Dr. V. And
Don't
this
listen
is
to that
something
crap.
else. There's something else you got to do. You got to tell Dr. V, do something with that website. Tell him with the channel. Say, Dr. V, do something so I come on. Update me daily. Let me come on. Dr. V, speaking some of my stuff on Zoom. Dr. V, come in and give me ideas. You should be telling Dr. V what you want because he wants to give it to you. He just doesn't know how because you got to remember, Dr. V, like me, is a boomer. And it's tough. We answer in music or this or that, and we don't, it's a little different. So if you need Dr. V to come at you digitally, not analog, but with a transistor radio listening in the ear, but digital,
That's
then
it.
you got to tell Dr. V, here we go. This is what we need. Dr. V, please let us know what's going on. You deserve more views. Now, that's me. I'm leaving him alone.
Thank
I
you,
love
Mark.
him, but he won't do anything. He'll ignore me. He always does. He's ignored me for 53 years, except when he thought he was going over to the geeks when we were about to pledge at the house, and he thought he was wandering over to the geeks across the quad, and I said, "Ain't no way, Doctor."
Yes, they wanted me bad. They wanted me badly.
Essentially, Dr. V was my first rush.
Yeah,
Even
that's
though we were
great.
PBs, we were PBs. I just loved them.
Absolutely.
We went to, who else could be crazy enough to take Italian? What was it, 5 days a week, three semesters? It was crazy.
You're right. You're right.
Buongiorno. Okay, I loved it. It was fun. Man, I don't know how we got through there. I know how
8
you got
a.m.
through there.
Italian class. 8
Uh,
a.m. Wasn't it?
uh,
Wasn't it like
8
8 a.m.
a.m. I know.
Can
People
you
say
believe
you
that?
didn't have an 8. Didn't we really have an 8 a.m. class
We
with Italian?
we did. We did.
With
Thank God for Nina.
Italiano.
Thank God for Nina.
Andrea
He was
Letty.
our professor. Yeah.
What a great guy.
Great guy.
Okay, Andrea Letty. Okay, now I'm going to start things a little differently here, Dr. V. Oh, we already did a little start earlier, but now we're going to get into the real. Generally, I try to end with the Boomers album of the week. And we haven't done it for a couple of weeks because I keep waiting for you with your threats on Pink Floyd, but I know you fall asleep listening to it every time you try to give us
Not
a
at all.
sample here. However, we are going to let our music, well, it was 70s alternative music, late 70s, be the focus of today's show.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
Diva. Are we not men? We are Devo. For
You're
those of
right.
you who don't know, forget the music. Devo stands for de-evolution. And what does MAGA say? Make America great again. So MAGA is Devo. We are Devo. Let's read some of the words.
There you go.
Crazy. The song is called Jocko Homo, but they tell us that we lost our tails, evolving up from little snails. I say it's all wind and sails. Are we not men? We are Devo. And I want to thank my buddy and our bro, James Mack, for reminding me to pull the album out and use it today since I've been talking Devo, but it's really the bottom line. Isn't that what MAGA is? De-evolution. It's yesterday. All they talk is yesterday. You've been seeing my shorts. I'm jumping up and down. They call Kamala what? Dumb. And they call Kamala. And they do this. And they do that. Call her a lunatic. What's that going to do? That's not going to do anything. You got your boy J.D. Vance running around talking about childless cat mothers, and then thinking he's making a joke saying, I got nothing against cats, which means he's got something against childless mothers. Are you noticing that? So these guys, these people, they are yesterday. Even the Hulkster had to be bummed hearing that. Even the Hulkster, when he's ripping off that shirt, had to be bummed hearing that. And I sit back and I go, I don't understand. Why do they think this testosterone? And I had a couple of comments where a guy came on and said, yeah, it's testosterone. I smell, you know what testosterone smells like to me? Smells like a bunch of guys after we finished the game and you needed to get into the shower. That's what testosterone smells like. Not, "Oh, I'm a man." Come on, am I missing something? Tell me, Dr. V. Tell me.
You're not missing something, but I think there is a sense that the guys in this country are being devalued. We talked about that a week or so
Yeah, but I
ago.
mean, come on, come on. You know, I love you. I'm gonna pop you one, and I say it to people who watch. I love this guy. He's so smart. He's got his MD, he's got his PhD. He writes, he does everything. He's everywhere. But he's too nice to these people because he sees too many of them and gets knocked down. His patients and all these people. That's why he's such a great doctor. He's a great doctor. But I'm tired of the excuses. Come on. You and I played sports. We went out there running around. You don't have to sit there and act like, because I'm devalued. These people are being devalued because they're acting like this, because they're acting like Devo. That's what the problem is here. It's not that the general thing that men are being devalued, they're playing video games. It's because these MAGA people want to go back to Devo, to de-evolve. That ain't testosterone. That's Devo. It's Devo. Come on, what am I missing?
I'm trying to explain to you what the
Yeah, but you're
psychology
too
is.
nice. You're
And
too being tough.
it's not being nice. It's trying to understand. And if you feel like you've been put down your whole life, no one cares about you. You have to make some sort of statement to push yourself back up. And so they need to feel important again. Now, I
And
think the
Trump
way they
needed
do
that.
it. What's
Trump
that?
needed that? Tell me, Trump needed that? He was pushed down his whole life. He's been busy defrauding everyone. You see, that's why I don't understand. I love you. God, I do 53 years. We're going to be going back for our 50th next year, I think. I'm looking forward to it. That should be fun. But the bottom line is, come on. Come on. We're talking about grown men here. We're not talking about the boys, the kids, the young men that they're worried about. We're talking about grown men who grew up when we grew up, or a little bit after us, when men were not devalued. We were the men, whatever that meant. We were the men, right? That was what it is. And these are the people who are leading for Slovakia. Hi, we love you. And these are the people who are, thank you for the light. And these are the people who are leading us back to de-evolution. Unfortunately, this is such a great album. It's such great music on here. Okay, so I'm not cutting it down. It's not like Pink Floyd where you fall asleep, but that's what they're these. So why do you make excuses for people who did not grow up devalued?
Yeah, well, I'm not making excuses. I'm trying to understand. And if you
Okay,
understand
good.
something, you can address it.
Well,
We can just rail at the
make me
wind.
understand.
We
Make me
can.
understand.
Okay, I'll help you understand. I'll help you
Help,
understand.
please,
Okay.
please. And no bill at the end. No bill at the
I
end.
need to put up my rent sign again, but we
Why
gotta
didn't you do
we
it?
gotta
Shell
monetize this thing.
Pedro, hello. I want you to. Where is that for? You need to rent that wall. Well, how are we going to make it here? I don't know how we're going to make it.
We need
I'm sorry. Good
more
morning.
likes, and then I can monetize the channel here. And,
Okay,
I'm,
make me understand. Make me understand.
Here's the thing. So you have people, men, who feel devalued, who feel small, who feel they're not heard at all. And that's partly what goes into why a lot of these young men buy guns and go around shooting people, because it's a combination of depression, feeling worthless, feeling unheard. So they want to make some sort of mark in their life. And when they go to a MAGA rally, and to, and it's fun if you ever listen to one of his rallies, because
Well, I listen.
people who go there get this sense of belonging, a sense of I'm worth something, and Trump does a good job of helping to promote that, where you feel better about yourself after you go to the rally. That there was a time when you were valued, there was a time when you were important, and
I
people
went
don't
to the
feel that.
concert. I had a great time. I saw them twice. It didn't matter. They were talking de-evolution. It sounded great, but I didn't want to vote for them for president.
Is it? Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and there's a lot of things that are de-evolution, like people are against science, they're against
Science.
technology, they're mistrustful for a lot of things, and they want to go back to a simpler time when men were men, where men had some role, and they don't feel that anymore. I mean, I don't know. You probably watched the opening ceremonies for the Olympics, and the French, in their own way, presented sort of a woke opening ceremony, and that's the sort of thing that gets them upset. That you see transgender people, this and that, and they feel like, who's speaking for them? And
Nicole,
Trump,
we saw your message and we ignored it. I'm happy you retracted it. Go ahead.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. So people are feeling unheard, but Trump hears them, and and that's why he has Hulk Hogan on there. It speaks to that need, the sense of,
I love the Hulkster too. I mean, that's not the. I'm with you. I love the Hulkster. He was great. I saw him slam Andre the Giant. I met Andre. He had a hand out the ear. I put my hand in there. I think his hand went all the way up to my elbow. I mean, I love the W. It was the WWE then. We're talking
right.
old days. I loved it. I'm not fighting it, but I'm just saying, why do you want to devolve? Every time, you see these comments I get from these people here when I'm on Just an American Citizen. And I ask them, where do you want to go back to? Because I think that's really the question, and I can't get good answers. One wanted it like 40 years ago. I said, really? Well, let's go through this and this and this. Oh, okay. And one wanted it like 20 years. 20 years, one wanted the 50s. The 50s, I went through a whole bunch of stuff then. And on top of that, they had horrible music except for Elvis and a couple other things. So you sit there is nothing better. America, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again. I say it to these people who give me comments all the time. I'm sick and tired. I don't care if considered to the left a little bit. This is a great country. You don't have to go back to being great. And this country's great because we move forward. We make mistakes. We take steps back, but we always take more steps forward because people here care about people and care about this country. This is a great country. And I always ask them, I get all worked up right now. I'm getting worked up. You're going to have to help me. Because I always ask these people in the comments, where do you want to move? What country is greater or better than this country? And I can never get an answer. I can never get an answer. Why? Because it's great. So when these people are telling me and the rest of the world, it's yesterday. Well, Paul McCartney wrote a song called Yesterday. It was beautiful. All my troubles seem so far away, right? But it ain't that way. We are moving forward. We got problems. We got to deal with those problems. But quit talking about yesterday. We got to come together and worry about it. I think everybody say, I know Kamala's going to have a little problem, but I think the Republicans are cruising for a bruising here because you keep hearing them talk and all they do is call people names and this de-evolution everybody thinks is the answer. And their problem is going to be the hubris. I smell it. I love hubris, overconfidence, arrogance. We can't lose. We'll just keep calling her names. Please do. She just raised 200 some odd million. So I'm sorry. I know I'm taking it from you. I know I love you. I love you. But we can't make excuses for de-evolution except for the album is great. The album is great. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm, I'm not talking about de-evolution. I'm talking about evolution. I'm talking about the future. And that is, how do we bring people together? And you don't bring people together by putting down one group. For too
Who's
long,
putting them
women
down?
and minorities were put down, and men
Right.
were, thought of as running the world. And now men feel like they're being put down. And so we want to go back when superheroes were male. Superman was a male. And then you look this weekend and people are going to the movies again to see what? Deadpool and Wolverine,
I don't know if
males.
they're.
And then
I
when
don't
they
know
had
what. I don't know what the.
all these superhero movies that are all female, nobody went
Yeah,
to
but
see
but
them.
who knows? I don't know what the box office is on that yet. You don't know yet.
It's going to be a huge hit because it speaks to a need that many males have, that they're being devalued. And if the Democratic Party doesn't address that, if it becomes too estrogen driven and doesn't throw a little testosterone in there, it's going to hurt the party. But more importantly, it hurts the country if people don't talk to each other respectfully. And you have to understand that when people are upset, that they feel that they're being put down, that they're going to gravitate to someone like a Trump who spews hate, division, because they feel like no one is speaking to fighting
Time
for
out.
them.
Time out. All of you watching, please feel free to throw in your ideas. Whether we agree with you or not, we will deal with you up front. We'll give you an honest answer because we love, like Joe's saying there, we exchange and we don't go after you about it. So please feel free to throw in whatever you want to throw in, whether you agree with us or not. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe. You agree with that, don't you, Joe?
Oh, absolutely. The other night I was at a clam bake, and there's a group of us together, and some of the people were Trump supporters, some people were for uh, Harris, but it was a very rational discussion where people were talking about issues, and people learn from each other, and that's what makes this country great. You said it the other day that it's throwing in all the spices that makes the soup so tasty.
Well, you
And
got to have the
so,
soup first. You got to have the soup first, and that soup is the idea of America, the rights that we have, the Bill of Rights, and that's why people come here. But the soup can kind of be—it's just like chicken soup. You got to throw some spices in there, and that's what makes it so cool. Is the people come from so many different places because they all share that soup. They love that soup, and they want to make it spicier, or tastier, or saltier, or pepper, whatever. And that's what makes America so great, and that's what we're missing, and that's why we have to stay together because everybody hates us around the world because they don't understand why people want to come here and why we are great. And that's why I'm tired of hearing make America great again. We are great. People come here. Millions want to come here. Why? Because they want to come to America to live and raise their families. This is it. And that's what people are missing. And that's why we got to start looking to the future and start really coming together. I don't care, you're Republican, Democrat, independent, whatever. You're an American. That's what happens. Let's quit with this. I'm this, I'm that. You're an American. That's good enough for me.
yeah, there you go. But the Democrats have to watch that they don't become an identity party. That
But they
every
already are. But I agree. I don't think she will, though, because you got Biden, you got her, you got Clinton. We're left. I mean, Obama's a little bit there, but it's to the left. But I just think they're too smart. The Democratic Party's too smart. People are just starting to come because people are looking at it. I mean, look at it. You got a Republican candidate who's almost 80 years old, who has trouble maintaining a thought, and all he can do is yell and scream and cuss people out, which is other people, which is the rest of the people this party are doing, and he just sits there and calls people names. While on the other side, you have a group you may not agree with a lot of their ideas or all their ideas, but they're coming up with ideas with the young people, a young ticket, oh my gosh, that's tomorrow. That ain't Devo. And that's why there's got to be a change and people got to understand it. Josh, they want to come here because of the free handouts. Are you slow, bud? Nah, I'm not that slow. I'm not much of a runner. Joe, are you fast? Are you slow too? I don't know. Josh
no,
is
I
asking us if we're
and
slow.
I
I
want to
was,
speak to
I was,
Josh.
tell Josh, I was
I
always
want to
slow,
speak
but
to Josh for a
Josh,
second.
Josh, I'm gonna let you have understand. It ain't free handouts. People come here. Your grandparents came here. My grandparents are great grandparents. Joe's great parents, grandparents came. All of them did. Josh, that's what you're missing. We become part of one. We become part of one. That's what it is. They pay taxes. How many of these immigrants, Joe, pay taxes? Don't have the right to vote because they shouldn't. But I don't think they should. But they pay taxes. They can't get Social Security. They pay into Social Security. Josh, it ain't free handouts. There are a lot of really good people here. There are a lot of really good people. Go, Joe, run with it. All right, get
Oh,
all Josh got me
I
worked up.
saw.
Josh is back. He's back. What did he say? My
Saw
grandpa, and I think that's great. Now look, Josh, this is really, I must disagree with you. You threw in a thought. We responded to your thought. You didn't like the response. Now you say you don't need me to explain. Just because your grandpa was a colonel or you a colonel in the United States Air Force, all you have to know is as a citizen of the United States, you know your rights, you know your history, and that's what's important. It doesn't matter what you do here, if that's what you do. So all we did was respond to you. If you don't need to hear it, sorry, then don't throw in the comment. Am I wrong? Did I handle that incorrectly, Joe?
No, but I hear where Josh is coming from. That he comes from a family that has been in this country for a long time, and they've worked hard to build up the country, and now they feel like other people are coming in to take advantage of what they've built up. But let me say this to you,
Wait, so
Josh.
you missed my point. He
Go
made a comment, looked for a response. We gave Josh a response, and then Josh's response to us was, "Why am I listening to you?" The point is, if you're going to ask and come in and put in a question, and we give you a response, you get the response. If you don't like the response, then don't ask the question. That's the issue. Let's stick with it like a lawyer. Let's not let him run off to the side. I know what you're saying, but if you don't ask the question if you don't want a response, Josh. That's the bottom line. Go ahead, Joe.
I think Josh is saying that your response didn't address him, that his grandparents were not immigrants. And so, how does that apply to him? And I'm going to try to explain how it
Well,
applies
my
to Josh.
grandparents, my parents fought in the war, and the grandparents, they all did. There's no difference. I feel the same thing. Right on, Josh. But don't ask a question. And if you don't like the response, say, "Why are you giving me a response?" Stick with your question. If you don't like the answer, then don't ask the question. Now, if your question is, Dr. V, what
Yeah,
do you think? My family is here, has done it, and I think I'm getting a bad rap. What do you think, Dr. V? And if you ask that question, I say right on it. Dr. V will give the questions, the answer Dr. V's giving you. Go ahead, Dr. V.
here's why it's important that we have immigrants, Josh. Even if your grandparents were not immigrants. And I saw a cartoon the other day that represented it very nicely. Somebody was holding up a sign, uh, close the border. We don't need any immigrants anymore.
Mass deportation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mass deportation, right. And he looked out in his backyard and somebody was cutting down his tree. And he goes, maybe I better wait till this guy finishes cutting down my tree before I put the sign out. And the reason it's funny is because he has his arturo. I have my arturo who comes around and cuts down the tree, which they cut down about 2 weeks ago. And he comes and he's brings his crew, and I suspect some of the crew came from outside this country, but he gives a very fair price. He does an excellent job. I like it when he comes around and works in my yard. He does a great job. I have a business, and when I hire people, I'll tell you, I have better luck with some of the people who are the sons and daughters of immigrants. They work hard, they love this country, they do a great job. Some of the people who've been around for a few generations feel a sense of entitlement. It's first question they have is, how many hours of PT time do I have? I said, that's not the first question. The first question is, how can you help this business grow? And so immigrants bring a certain energy to this country that the country has taken advantage of for, 2 centuries, and that is partly what's made this country so great. And you can even see it in other countries that are all of a sudden good in certain sports, and it's because the immigrants have come to that country and added spice to those countries
The
to make them
difference
good in
is they
sports.
can't become citizens like they can here as easily, and they don't get integrated as much because in other countries like Britain and France, there's like these big ghettos. I don't know what better word to use, where the people are not citizens and have to live in those areas and really can't really become a part. Here we have ours, but people are still citizens, which means you can vote, which means you can do things, except those that haven't come in. And that's where we get to a point we've always been yelling about. I'm sick and tired of it. Congress has got to get off their butt. It's been going on for too long. 40 years, Republican, Democrat, Independent, they've done nothing. There's time for a bill. There's time for everybody to come together and say, how do we do it right? Let people in. How do they become it? How about the people who are already here? There's not going to be mass deportation. It'll be crazy. I think you'll see real problems in the streets. How are we going to do it? How do we integrate these people, give them green cards or do something? These people who are paying and doing the good people, and the ones who aren't good, we take care of. Let me the right way. You know what I'm saying? Put them in jail. But the good people and all the others, which are the great majority, we take care of them who are paying in and doing it. And the Congress does nothing. And all they want to do is separate. Once again, De-evolution, great album. But Congress, because I got to vote against or vote for, I can't vote for the country any longer. I can only vote for my district and say, my district is the American people. Well, no, it isn't. Your district is the smallest slice of American people. And a lot of your district doesn't agree with you, Congressman. So the bottom line is we are here. The people are here. We got to put it together. And we are being surrounded by enemies. That's what everybody ignores. Russia's after us, China's after us, Iran's after us, North Korea's after us, and we think the way to do it is just being in, oh, we love you, and just kind of walk away. It ain't going to happen. They're coming after us because we got what they want: a great economy, great technology, great people, great constitution. They want what we've got, and we've got to understand. We got to start sticking together as one instead of letting these MAGA de-evolution leaders, I'm not talking about the people, I'm talking about the Trump liars. We let them lead us through the jive instead of looking at the truth of what America really is. Especially also the Supreme Court. We're going to do that sometime. Talk about ethics problems, money there. People don't want to hear about it. But gosh, you got one justice getting millions of dollars of benefits. Oh, that bothers me. God, that bothers me so much. And he sits there like they're better than everybody. He's such a history expert. But he'll take that cash, won't you, Justice Thomas? I'm not cash. You'll take those trips, won't you, Justice Thomas? And not tell anybody until you're called out, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the Republicans say, well, he would vote that way anyway. Well, man, if I'm getting up to $4 million of trips, I consider voting that way too. What am I missing?
I wish you were here, Mark, so I could throw some water on you to calm you down. Jeez. God, your heart.
That
You're
gets me
right, of
worked
course.
up.
You're right, of course. But we need to have a rational discussion over these matters. There has not been a rational discussion on immigration for a long time.
Nope.
Two things are clear. Number one, illegal immigration is not a good thing. It's not good for the democratic cities. It's not good for the country. And if you don't vet the people coming in, there's a chance bad people are going to come in. That's true. That's absolutely true. But what's also absolutely true is you need the lifeblood of people coming into this country that really does help make the country great, that's willing to work hard, that provides a lot of labor that other people don't want to provide. So you need both of those things, and we should be able to have a rational discussion about that and solve the issue. But no one wants to have the rational discussion. They want to just say, ban all immigrants, send people home, that sort of thing. That's not an answer. Open the borders, let everyone in. That's not an answer. But there is a right answer that we, by working together, can come to that answer.
Yeah, they almost did. They almost did earlier. Let's see. We've
Uh,
got Blue Blade here saying it's good to have civil conversations, but it is civil. We're just having a good time. No, we're not calling anybody names. Blue, we're not getting mad at anybody. I mean, I may be emotional, but I'm emotional because I'm just an American citizen and I love our country and I believe in it. But we encourage people to tell us you think you disagree. I mean, come on. I say right on. We love each other, and we have a lot of people who really disagree with us who we get along with real well, but they're wrong, but we like them. Let's see. Mrs. W, at least he wasn't caught with gold bars. Trump, I agree there.
yeah,
Menendez
we
got what he
agree. Yeah,
deserved.
we agree.
Menendez got, let me tell you about him.
Did he
You
resign
know,
yet, or did he
yeah, he
resign?
resigned. He's at the end when after Congress comes back. Their Senate is on. Congress is on recess early because they couldn't get anything done. So meanwhile, we're paying all of them their salaries, and we're paying him his salary. Okay, and you get these people there, and he should be gone, and that money
Should
should
be
be
gone.
gone. But you look at a guy like this who was indicted before and got lucky with the hung jury on payoff, quotes, questionable payoffs or whatever, and he's does the same thing even worse. And it makes you wonder, where's the brains? You don't have to be Democrat or Republican to be smart. You just got to be kind of smart. I don't know. You're a U.S. senator. You don't take gold bars from people. You don't take Mercedes Benz from a foreign country or even from inside here. Though, of course, as you know, the Supreme Court changed that. You know that, don't you? In the Chevron, but no, what case was? Wasn't Chevron? It's another one. But everybody should remember this. The Supreme Court said if they give it to you before, if they give it to the politician before, it's a payoff. But if after the politician gives them what they want, they give it to them, it's more like just a tip. So there's nothing wrong with that. So what Menendez should have done, oh, thank you, Supreme Court. I love our Supreme Court. People don't realize that. Think about it. You pay off your guy after he does it for you, but it's just a tip. Nothing wrong with that. You got to prove otherwise. Think about that. That's our U.S. Supreme Court. So I suppose Justice Thomas looked at it as he did his decision, then he got his trips. Oh, that makes perfect sense. So you sit there and you go, woo, I don't understand. But no, that's how we have to. So how could this guy be so dumb as to do the same thing all over again? Come on, you're a U.S. Senator. You're there for the country. He's got what he deserved at the door. Who was it? Fetterman didn't leave him alone. He was all over him. Now, I agree. Innocent until proven guilty is yours, but still, he got what he deserved. You're found guilty, ball game over. It's up to the jury. I'm sorry. You could be Democrat or you could be Trump. Jury says you're guilty or you're liable or whatever. That's what you are. And so is Menendez. I don't care who you are. That's what happens. That's what happens, right? So yeah, guys, we're with you. We're kind of more conservative than you think. Immigration is conservative. George Washington's parents immigrated here. I think. Yeah, right. Okay. Okay. So we got that. Meanwhile, today, our friend Donald Trump, let's get to him. We haven't talked to him for a while. He said to a group yesterday, who was the group? Oh, the crypto people. You vote for me, you don't have to vote again in 4 more years.
But that was
Like
Christians. His Christians don't
that.
have to vote anymore.
It wasn't the
My,
crypto.
my Christians, if you vote for me, you'll never have to vote again.
I love
His
this
Christians.
Guy. I love this guy. It ain't funny. It's the real. But you got
he says it right out there. You have to. I give him credit for his honesty. I want to be a dictator. If you vote for me, you won't have to vote again. And they're his Christians. They're not God's
I'm
Christians.
with it.
They're his Christians.
Wait a second. I want to say something. Guillermo, we love you. Guillermo always comments here, Joe.
Oh, great.
Guillermo always comments. He doesn't agree with us on a lot, but he almost always comments. Guillermo, I love you. Give us a thumbs up sometime and some hearts. We love you, Guillermo. And you see, guys, that's somebody we deal with who doesn't agree with us, but is cool, lays it out straight, and we get along great with him. And that's what America is.
That's what America is. Yeah, that's what America is. Yeah, that we can come together. And I always loved the Olympics because this was a time when the country would come together. When the country would come together and root for Americans.
Time out. Wait one more second. Guillermo, tell your friends about us. Hey, bring them in. We want them. We want to meet them. We want to talk with them. You're great. Bring your buddies in, men and women. We'd love to see them. We're there. Get going, Dr. D. I have to tell you, we're wide open. We love everybody. Well, not everybody, but most people. We're not Putin lovers. Go ahead, Dr. D. I'm sorry.
I love that the country will come together during times of Olympics where we could see the American flag go up and hear the Star Spangled Banner, and everybody was on board with that.
Right.
But now you even get a sense that some people don't want to see the American team win, the women's basketball team, the men's basketball team, because of politics. And that, for me, is really a shame. That it should not be the case that because of politics, we can't even come together as a country to root for our team in the Olympics. And I saw something the other day that someone said that they were so embarrassed by the opening ceremonies that they want to emigrate to Russia because when Russia had their opening ceremonies, they were doing ballroom dancing.
But they should go. Russia's had so many people leave there. They need them. Go join Tucker Carlson and go there. In fact, Tucker hasn't gone. He does a lot of talking, but he hasn't gone yet.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Blue, we agree with you on inflation. If you look at the numbers, they are starting to come down. It's not fast enough. Things exploded, but if you look like McDonald's has the $5, and I'm noticing the grocery stores are having sales where they didn't have them before because people are pushing back. Let's tell you something, Blue. We got to remember this as Americans. We shouldn't just accept these raises in prices that these that these stores, everybody want to do to us. Push back. Don't buy from them. Go somewhere else. That's what I do. When these guys start, the prices start going up, and I don't like the grapefruit juice, or I don't like the milk, or I don't like that because I'll go somewhere else for it. Let these people know these companies think they can do whatever they want, and they think that they can push prices on us. Yeah, inflation ain't good, but don't let these guys take advantage of it. Like Chipotle and all the others. Yeah, we can keep raising. Listen to it on CNBC. Suddenly they're all getting a little nervous about raising. Push back. Don't just pay it. Go somewhere else and say, a pox on your house. I ain't paying what you're doing. See you, Guillermo. I think you already left. So that's what I think about blue. I'm just throwing it out. But I understand inflation's horrible. But it's getting better. Look at the numbers. It's coming down. In fact, it looks like the Fed's going to cut interest rates soon. I mean, who knows? But it looks like a little bit. It won't be that much for a quarter. What's that going to do? But it's a head thing. It gets people feeling better. So we'll see. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I wanted to
But
respond before we
you know,
go.
and again, dealing with inflation is something that we can work on together. We can talk about what caused it. You could blame Biden. You could blame the pandemic. There's a variety of reasons why we had high inflation. It seems to be getting better. But the point is, and it's a reasonable point that they make on the MAGA side, that it's too expensive to buy things these days, and where especially hurts people is that the interest rate is so high. So to buy a house now, not only is the cost of the house high, but to borrow the money to pay the mortgage is incredibly high. So to buy a house now is out of a lot of people's budget, and that's an issue. That's a problem that we need to
Don't get me
address.
started on housing. You know where I come from there. Don't get me started again.
But again, that's a place where we can have a rational discussion about how to deal with that issue. Because again, this country needs to identify what the problems are and come together to find a rational solution to them. And to be honest, I think the American people have not done a very good job of voting for politicians to represent us in Congress to find rational decisions. So for me, it's not Republican or Democrat. It's, are we going to vote for politicians who want to work to help solve our country's problems and work together? That's what I'm most
Well, the
interested
first thing you got to do is change the word from politicians to people. Do we want to vote for people who are going to want to work together? Because the definition of politician has been displayed. They're liars. They're just horrible. You can't trust a politician for what you just can't, because they're only going to tell you what they want to get is clicks. Call them people. Can we get good people in there? Because if you're a politician, I already think you're laying the BS on us, okay? So let's get it straight. But if you put good people in there who say, I'm a person, I care, I want to make it happen, I'm an American, I'm going to make it roll, that's a little bit different. Politicians, they all have their own interests. I got to take care of the guy who's going to vote for me here. I got to take care of the woman who's going to raise money from here. I got to do all that. It's a matter of, once again, we've got to start looking at each other, but people aren't going to worry about it. It ain't going to happen. I'll tell you this, what really upset me, whatever you think about the Mideast, don't take down the American flag and put up a Hamas flag. Don't take down the American flag or put up a Russian flag. That didn't go up. Don't take down the American flag or put up a Chinese flag. If you feel that way, then go to that country and live there. I'm sorry. Period. The end. I'm old time. I used to kind of, okay, you want to burn the flag, you got the right to do it. The Supreme Court said it's fine. But hey, if you don't love it here, go where you think you want to love it. And if you want to raise that flag, raise it there. And if you think God, you think Hamas is great, go live with them. If you think Putin is great, live with him. If you think Z is great, live with him. If you think the young un is great, live with him. If you think the big eternal leader in Iran is great, live with him. But quit complaining about here and quit pulling our flag down, because it's BS. And I'm telling you, it's time that we stop letting these people do that, because after a while, it becomes vandalism and destruction and not just protest.
Well, I agree with that. The one thing I don't agree with you is politician. People use the word as a dirty word. It
It
means that
is a
they're
dirty
liars.
word.
I don't think
They've
it's a
made
dirty
it
word.
dirty. They've
I don't think
made
it's a
it
dirty
dirty.
word. I professional politicians are there for a reason. When the country was founded, it was politicians who found the country, and they got together in back rooms and they figured out solutions for the issues, and it involved compromise.
It wasn't a back room. It was a big room with no air conditioning. The windows were closed, and they were wearing wool with storms outside, and they were sweating. You know what they needed? You know, all you see on TV all the time, people have a problem taking showers now. They get that junk. They got to put it on. They got to spray it. Hey, if I'm stinking, I'm going to spray the stuff. They
Mm.
pull the pants out. That's what we should have sent back to the founders. Hey, you there? You don't want to take a shower? Why don't you do what the people here do? Why be clean? Just spray perfume all over yourself. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know the room where they got together. It's right around the corner from me down in the city. I visit it all the time. It's a fine room. But they got together in one room. They did respect each other as human beings, though. That's important. They didn't vilify the other side as you're less than, you're not human, you're not worthy. They respected each other, and they hashed things out, and they compromised. They didn't get everything that they wanted, but they got enough of what they wanted so that the country could come together and deal with a crisis. And that's what we need to do now, to have that kind of spirit of working together, compromising. You don't get everything that you want. Sometimes you don't know what the right answer is, so you try it, and then you see what happens. And if it doesn't work, you try something else. That's all
Let me
you.
give you, you are right. You are 100% correct. And let me give a good example of that. For our history deprived justices on the U.S. Supreme Court who know no American history, okay, especially our friends on the right. John Dickinson. Let's use this, okay? People don't hear about John Dickinson. John Dickinson was one of the really founding fathers, but you don't hear about it because he did not want to separate from Britain. He felt that we were still could make a deal with Britain, that we could be whatever we are and be independent and do our thing. Well, it wasn't working. The British were whacking us, and it wasn't going to happen. And people wanted to separate. So at the Declaration, when we were going to sign the Declaration of Independence, they were waiting for Pennsylvania to sign. And they were wondering, is Pennsylvania going to sign the Declaration of Independence? Because John Dickinson, is he going to sign? What did John Dickinson do? He stayed home. He didn't go because he knew he couldn't sign it, but he wasn't going to stand in the way of the formation of the United States of America just because he believed what he believed. That's an American. Then he put on the uniform and fought for America afterwards. He'll never look good in history, but he's great that way. He stepped back. That's compromise. That's an American. That's what we've got to do. Our history, as you said, is based on that.
And what evolution is, which is the theme of the discussion today, it's constantly learning from experience. It's the genes that are healthy that give you some selective advantage. Those are the ones that are passed on, and so each successive generation is stronger, better suited to deal with the environment. And as a country, evolution is learning from mistakes, taking educated guesses, and then going back to see if those guesses worked or didn't work. And it's not based on what's the morally correct thing, although you want to be within a certain set of morals, but what is the thing that works? What gets you closer to your goal? And that's what evolution is. And I'm fearful, as you point out, that we're not going by that rule anymore, by what works. We're going by who's wearing the right hat. And if the person is wrong but wears the right hat, that's the person I'm going to vote for. That's the person I'm going to follow. Not based on your identity, but based on what the data shows about what's most effective. That's what evolution is. That's what our country was founded on. That's what has made this country so great. And you're right. I'm fearful we're losing some of that right now.
Well, let me tell you this. We may be, but I think we've hit our 45 minutes where we normally go. We normally at this point hit, if I may. I think you've been great. I'm hoarse. You got me all hoarse. You got me still worked up. Dr. V does it. Before we go into our next issue, what's your website, Dr. V?
Dr. V.
Just Dr. V, that's a channel?
Yeah, I'm going to change it to Dr. V. does Joe talks.
Well, right now it's Dr. V. Go on to Dr. V's channel. Say these are thoughts and ideas I have for you to make it better, and then put in there. Listen to me when you do it. Next,
All right.
we always like to hit our boomer music of the week. Of course, keep getting threatened to pass out with Pink Floyd, so luckily we don't. I talked about this. Let me tell you something. This album is so great. It's not PC, so it's 70s, but it rocks. And you had what was Mike 1, Mike 2, or Mark 1, Mark 2. They had these weird hats. Yeah, Mark 1, Mark 2, or Bob 1, Bob 2. They had these weird hats you went on. Here was beautiful at the concert. Are we not men? We are Devo. It was great. This album is so good. Forget that we are basing today's talk on de-evolution and saying, why does MAGA want to devolve? Well, the only reason I can see is because they want to go back to this music, because this album, Are We Not Men? We Are Devo. Get it, love it, okay? Is there anything else you want to say, Dr. V?
No, just join us
Well,
again next week. What a week it's been.
next Sunday, right,
Did,
every Sunday at 11. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, just last week we were sitting here saying, Biden's going to have to get out within the next day or two. Who would have predicted a couple hours later he'd be out?
If I may, Dr. V, how many shorts should I put out right after the debate saying he's out? Look at just an American citizen. Dr. V's kind of working some of this stuff here. We called it on top. We're there. We know what's going on. I still think it's Roy Cooper. I still think he's the dark horse. I know you think it's Pennsylvania. I don't see an all Jewish. That's what they'll call it, an all Jewish candidacy. I know that's what they'll call it. That's why I don't see it with Shapiro. But who knows? He's a good guy. We don't know. That's what makes it fun. I just think our Devo friends at MAGA better watch out, because hubris smells good. And that's the way it is.
Period.
See you guys. We're on every week. See you. And I watch my shorts. We love you. See you. Thanks for watching.